everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's really nice to see you. Today I wanted to walk you through all the tools that I use outside of decks that help me in my practice. I'm always so curious to see what other people use because it inspires me to think outside the box, use things in new ways, or just discover things that I don't know about yet. I have a lot to go over, so let's just hop right in. And the first category that I have is the various notebooks and journals that I use for my practice. The first one we have is this guy, and this is my mishmash, really messy, like note-taking, gotta jot it down so at least I don't forget notebook. Just some planning stuff, how to edit certain things, brainstorming different content. It really, as I go, it gets really messy, as you can see. But that is what this notebook is for. It contains all the tidbits that come up into my mind, and I write them down here, and then I go back into this, and then I put those ideas or thoughts or things in their appropriate place. So this is just like my catch-all notebook. The second notebook that I have is my spread journal. And I have featured this before on my harnessing lunar energy spread creation, and I have featured it in another video, I think, but this is where I keep track of all of my spreads. I don't really put my daily draws in here. Yeah, this is just a place I go to when I'm doing a larger spread, where I can answer the questions, write out what the cards were, and just one space for spreads, because before I was putting a spread in this, putting a spread in that, and it got all over the place, and I couldn't remember where that spread was when I wanted to reference it. So I decided to compile everything in this notebook. This is an old Erin Condren. She still has the spiral bound style notebook, and then the big orange one is just a notebook that I got off of Amazon just for reference. The next journal that I use is my tarot study journal, and the video is up now of me putting this together, walking you through my ideas and the method and the strategy of how it's set up, collaging a little bit, a couple of the pages together, and then doing a full walkthrough of the journal. But just to give an overview here, I am using this for mainly, the bulk of it is when I have a reading, I'm going to be journaling down the date, the deck that I used, and the spread that it was in. So for example, if I do a daily draw, I'm going to write it down here. Let's say I do maybe a spread focused on shadow work, that would be the reason, and then I write down the message of the card that I gleaned for that day. Let me show you an example of a filled out one with an entry. So the other, last month I drew the Hierophant for my daily draw. I used the Anthropologist Tarot, and then I journaled a bit about the message and what I thought I was talking about. The purpose is to create a catalog of each card every time that it may come up in a reading, and to see how my understanding of that card changes over time, changes over contexts, and so on and so forth. So it's a living, breathing tarot study journal that I can go back and I can see, okay, in 2024, in October, this is what the Hierophant meant to me for my daily draw. Maybe a couple years goes by and I start filling this up, and I can see, oh, in 2029, in the spring, I drew the Hierophant, and this is what it said then. And I can track my journey from that point to this point, you know, the current point, and see what it is I've learned along the way. Maybe I haven't, maybe it stayed the same, and if so, how can I deepen my understanding of each card? Anyway, if you want to see the full setup where I explain more in detail about this journal, then you can check it out. It's on my channel. I'll leave a card up above and you can go watch that. The next journal that I have is my spirituality journal. And this is where I track anything that I am called to or interested in, where I can go back and reference it and see my growth and explore different things maybe I didn't think that I would or would be interested in. Right now, one of the first examples I have is I read a book, Pagan Curious by Deborah D'Angelo, which I have talked about more fully. I believe it was in my August wrap-up. But this book takes you through the inner workings and the beginning workings of paganism and how you can incorporate it into your life in small ways. And this book has some activities that you can do and are essential and vital for that. So I write about the activities that I do. I write down notes, some things that have interested me. And then at the end of this specific one, I believe I did journal about what I took away from it and what matters to me. And this is just a place where I can really explore any topic in the spiritual realm that I am feeling called to, and have notes and bits and pieces stored in one place. The next journal I have never featured on my channel before, nor have I ever mentioned that I have this, because it is still very new to me. This is, I guess, what would be my grimoire. I was watching one of Danny Mystic's videos, I think maybe from a year ago, where she walks you through a completed grimoire that she had. And she really discussed how she went fully into her Cajun ancestry and explored it and noted it down in her grimoire, all of the cool things in her background and her family history in it, and how it ties into her as a person and her practice and so on and so forth. And I really liked that angle, because I don't want this just to be a repository of information that I can Google easily online. I really want this book to represent me as a person and where I am at in each step of my spiritual practice, so I can go back and look on things, and if there's a recipe that I liked for making incense, or maybe even a food dish, it is in here, and then passing it down, my family will be able to see and get to know me through this. So I've really been taking a lot of time with this. I haven't been rushing it. I'm doing it in a collage style. So far I have put in a little bit about where I grew up, where I'm from, and where I'm from, grapes is a true livelihood of the area. And I wanted to put in a spread about that. There's a lot of mountains, so I dedicated this whole section to mountains and how mountains are magical. And specifically, I split this up into Appalachian Mountains, the Catskills, and then the Adirondacks, because those are the three mountain ranges that are in my area. I'm surrounded by them. And I wanted to put a little history about them, how I feel it relates to me as a person. I mean, our environment has so much to do with who we are, and I've always felt that deep down in my soul. I've always felt that. And so I have gone on about that and some magical properties each area has had based on some lore and history that I've looked up and researched. And then now I'm starting to go into the Finger Lakes, which is the water part of where I am from and grew up in, and different famous people that have lived in my area. And these are collage pieces that I will be using but haven't gotten to yet. I'm really taking my time with this. I'm not in a hurry. This is an exploration of me, and so I really want to honor that. And then I thought I would, or I might as well mention this journal, which is my book journal and where I track all my reading goals. And this is oh, let me back up here. These two I purchased from Barnes & Noble. This is like a refill for, I'm not even sure what system, but I really liked that it had a plain cover and the paper is nice. And then this notebook here is a Hobonichi Techo cousin, so just for reference. And this is an Archer and Olive notebook. And I liked the square format for books for how I wanted to journal in this. And this currently it has 2 years in it. So I'll show you a little bit. This is how I rate books, and this is my cover page for 2023. And the theme that I used for this year, it was like banners and such, so I tried to carry that throughout. These are the goals that I had, 23 books that I wanted to read in 2023, little thumbnail images, books that I wanted to read, anticipated releases, tracking genres, tracking series, book bingo, the A to Z challenge, quarterly brackets where each quarter I pick my most favorite read of the year, and then from those, well, there's 4 that will be in the running for my favorite book of the year, which last year it was Notes on Your Sudden Disappearance, and I feel like this goes under the radar and should totally read it. Very nostalgic. Yeah. I'd never filled out my yearly stats, so, you know, and then a bookish wish list. Unfinished books that I hadn't, maybe I've started and I didn't finish, which is, as you can see, a trend of mine. Books that I read, I just wanted to see like a list version of it. And then I split it into months. So January, I have January at a glance, and these are the 5 books that I read in January. And then it breaks down into individual reviews. And sometimes, as you can see, I'll use 1 page or I'll use 2 pages. It just depends on how much I had to say. This one, I think, yeah, it took up quite a few, and then it goes on throughout the months. It is collage style. And then, just as, I guess, and then 2024 is in here, and my theme was like jars. So the beginning portion, there's all jars, and it has the same, pretty much the same layout as the 2023, just, you know, for 2024. And after this is done, I will need a new notebook for 2025. The last notebook that I have, yes, that's kind of a lot, but I like writing and I like notebooks, and I have a lot of notebooks, so I might as well use them. This is my personal diary or journal, if you will. And I find that this is where I write down all my intimate and personal thoughts. And it's a very important part of what I use to help clear my mind. It's a form of therapy in a way. If I can't get it out of my mind and onto a page, or, you know, I could also talk the ear off of my, you know, mom or my partner, but in some way I need to get all the rambly, jumbly, mumbly, jumbo mess of my brain and the thoughts onto the page. And it really helps me ground myself and to take a deep breath. So this is a very important piece of my practice. Let's move on to the next section, which is books. I'll just grab one here so you have something nice to look at. I am always reading in some capacity, whether it is nonfiction like this book or fiction. And the main reason why is it is a major part of growing and learning for me. And it's essential that I have a book on hand at all times. I'm also one of those people that I just carry a book with me everywhere I go, because it brings me comfort just to have it nearby. Even if I don't ever open it, it's still the fact that it's there. But kind of a little aside or in relation to books is all the things that I use when reading. One of the first and most important things that I have on hand when reading are tabs. These are tabs that you can get on Amazon. You can find a million different colors. I love tabs because they call attention to a specific part of the book that really spoke to me. Sometimes I will assign a meaning to a color within the book, and other times I don't. And when I don't, it's because I want to challenge myself after I've read the book, I've set it down and time has passed and I might need to open the book again. I want to challenge myself to really look through the book and not just be able to scroll to an index, say, okay, that's what I need from this book, and set it down. Sometimes, yes, that is what I want. Sometimes it's not. It really depends on my mood, but I like to challenge myself and not always assign a color to a literary device or some I know in the tarot, assign a color to a literary device, or in the tarot, Essential Tarot Writings by Donald Tyson. If you didn't know, I read that book and I talk about it in my September wrap up, which I will link above if I can. And for that one, I had gray and blue as charts or other types of things like that to reference that would usually be in an appendix but was throughout the book. And then I assigned red and yellow, because I ran out of red, to interesting parts of the book that really spoke to me. So more general, they weren't as specific assignments, but that's just kind of my style. I usually do try to take into consideration the cover and what it looks like. So for this, I'll be using red tabs. So there will be no color assignment for that. I really like to match the color of the tabs to the book cover. And I know that annotating is very, I don't want to say controversial, but people, there are two sides here. There's those who will write and annotate and highlight in a book, and those who feel very uncomfortable with it. And I was an English major in college, so annotating just kind of had happened for me, and it never bothered me. I think for maybe a small period of time I worried about messing the book up or making it look ugly, but I actually have really learned to appreciate. And when I find a book at a thrift store that has annotations in it, I just freak out and I pretty much want to buy it whether or not I'm interested, just to see what this person was annotating. Anyway, what comes with that is, if you feel uncomfortable about writing in your book in a permanent way, you can buy these translucent sticky notes, and they come in all different shapes and sizes. There are some that are smaller than this. This is like a standard post-it size, but you can buy ones that are smaller and ones that are bigger, and you just pop them right in on the page. You write on this instead. You can even use it to highlight, and when you're done, you can peel them from the book and everything is good. So I do have these and I use them when I have a lot more to say than the margins can give me room for. So that is how I use these. And then of course, I use all kinds of pens and highlighters and such when I am reading a book. So at any given time, I'll have a highlighter on me, I'll have a pen. Sometimes I switch it up and do pencil. I think I started this one. No, this one's in red pen, but there are a couple of books where I do them in pencil. I don't know, it's kind of like whatever mood I'm in. And then what I use in addition is, so I have on hand a magnifying glass, and this is my antique handheld one. And then what I use in addition is, so I have on hand a magnifying glass, and this is my antique handheld one, or I have this bad boy, which it's very loud and clicky, but you can prop it up as a stand, and it has a light on it so you can highlight or see better what you're trying to magnify. And this is a hands-free way to, prop it up on its stand and to be able to see something better. And these are really great for looking at tarot cards and details a lot closer. And I also always have my little book light on hand. This I got from Amazon. It has, I think, 3 different light tones, and then within that you can make it brighter or dimmer. And it has this handy clip. You can clip it on a page. You can move this around. It's really helpful. I also do use this when I am crafting as well. The next tools that I use in my practice are crystals, and I don't have a ton of crystals, and I'm not super well versed in crystals, or I'm no expert by any means, but I have collected a few. Basically, I mean, this is it. This is my crystal collection here, and I use them and I like having them around because when I'm feeling anxious, it's really nice just to kind of put that energy somewhere else, or just to fidget with something, or when I'm wanting to embody the type of energy that they have, I will have them nearby. Or what I really use them for is for cleansing decks. So not a huge part of my practice, but still a part nonetheless. My all-time, I mean, look at this tower. Very pretty. I don't even know what, I can't remember what this is. But I bought this from a shop. Go to Gaia Crystals. If you're interested, she has all kinds of cool things on there. And let's see, my favorite pieces. Okay, I have this selenite wand, which has like this rough, I don't even know what this is, but I saw it at one of the local metaphysical shops, and I was like, yes, you are coming home with me. My next, one of my other favorites is the smoky quartz tower. I mean, wow, look at that. I liked how it just had like this pretty clean line and how it split the crystal. And then you can look on the top and see all the texture. Smoky quartz is my favorite crystal ever. This guy is pretty unique. It's a quartz with some, I forget what you call it. Oh gosh. I just had it. I'll put it up on the screen, but I thought it was super cool. The ring light doesn't help, but it's dark, so I need it. And then, yeah, those are really the three. I mean, this is another smoky quartz, but I love smoky quartz. It's just so beautiful. So that is my little crystal collection. And I maybe should have snuck this guy in with my crystal section, but this is my rhino. He is always on my desk, or in my desk is multi-purpose. It is my sacred space, it is my filming space, it is my desk area, but he's always around me. He's very special to me. Rhinos are very near and dear to my heart. I know where this started, and when I was taking my graduate study, my master's is in publishing, believe it or not. And one of the more fun classes I got to take was illustrating and writing your own children's book. Like, that was the class. And we had a professor who is a very well published children's author. And the purpose was for us, from beginning to end, from ideation to production, creating, storyboarding, all that, to what we need to do to get it out to an agent, following the steps to create our own children's story. Now, children's books was never my area as far as in the publishing world that I was really interested in, but it sounded like a fun class. I like being artsy, so I thought I would take it. And my story, its main character was a little rhino, Rudy the rhino. And I don't know why I chose a rhino. I have no idea. I really don't know. I think it just was meant to be, but ever since then, I have felt super connected to rhinos. And this guy is always with me and just represents the love and care I have for rhinos. As corny as that may seem, it is very serious and near and dear to my heart, so I thought I would include him here. The next tool or productivity tool that I use to enhance my practice, believe it or not, is YouTube. And I have been watching, subscribing to, and interacting with creators for a long time, and I have just recently, as you know, started my own channel. But YouTube provides a sense of belonging and purpose for me to have dialogue with those who also have the same interests that I do, who enjoy tarot, who think about it a little bit differently, who want to talk about it. And there is another layer to YouTube that when I'm feeling very low energy, and I will admit that I am naturally a low energy person as it is, I find that this might not be the case for everyone, but I am introverted. And I think that has a lot to do with why I'm naturally more low energy. But when I'm feeling more of that burnt out side to the low energy, YouTube is an easy way that I can still continue connecting with my practice without having to put in a lot of effort. I can still watch other people doing and talking and discovering things and go along the journey with them. But I'm taking a back seat at that time and not doing those things per se, maybe myself, because I'm needing the break. But I can still interact with and have my practice around me in a very low stakes way. So that is a reason why I've listed YouTube as a practical tool for me. And the last but not least of my productivity tools that I use is Monday.com. It is a project management system that is free to use, and it helps me stay organized not only with my channel content creation, but with keeping track of my deck collection and my wish list as well. It's very easy to use. You can pretty much make any type of workspace, they call it here, that you want for whatever purpose that you need. So for example, you have a board you can create, like a Kanban, and you can have a template, or you can create your own from scratch. You can create a document, which is what my wish list and deck collection is in. You can create a dashboard, a form, and then you can put them all in folders if your sidebar list gets too long. You can import data if you have things from other project management systems or Excel or Google Sheets that you need in here. So it's really a helpful tool. And if you would like a more in-depth video about how I use Monday.com for content creation, let me know. I'm happy to do so. I chose this because it is a free platform and it will always be free. It can always be free if you so choose. And right now, that is exactly, it gives me everything that I really need. So let's go into my wish list area. I've recently moved this from another thing I was using into Monday.com, so it is a little sparse. Over here on the left, you will see all of the headings that you have in the different sections in your document. So in case your document gets super long, you can just click on the heading and it will take you to that section of the document. And for a wish list, this is very short, but as I add to it, it will probably get pretty long. So right now, I'm just starting out and inputting things. The great part is it has this checkbox, which I think is really great for wish lists, and it grays it out. So when you have collected that, it grays out, but it doesn't completely go away. You can, of course, delete it if you want. You can also do bullet points or numbering if you would prefer. And there's a couple other style things that you can kind of play around with and really make it how you want it. And then the second part here is my deck collection. So this is an inventory of all the different decks that I have currently in my collection on my shelves. And this is really helpful to see exactly in a list format what I have. And I'm also working on creating different buckets of how I use these, which will be really helpful so I can see how many that I use for shadow work versus ancestral work versus daily, maybe daily draws or what have you. So you can take it down even further, which is what I'm planning to do. But yeah, so Monday.com really helps me. This isn't sponsored or anything. I did a lot of research from all the different project management systems, and I did a bunch of free trials on a lot of them. And this is the one that really clicked with me, and visually is how I like to see things set up. So it really helps me not only on the YouTube side, but in my practice, it helps keep me organized. And I have a ton of other things and other workspaces that I want to add to this that I just haven't yet. So it will really, it'll start becoming like this hub of everything I need in one place, which is really, really great. All right, guys, so that was my little video here about the tools that I use in my practice, how I stay productive in my practice, and just the smattering of things that I use to help keep me loving what I do, because that's truly what I'm here for. Is I love tarot, I love oracle, I love exploring, I love finding out new things. And all the current tools I have in my arsenal help me in my practice, whether it's for planning, learning, making a process maybe a little bit more manageable or convenient. All of these tools matter and help me do something that I cherish. And I am so curious to know what some of the tools are that you use in your practice. I would love for you to tell me below. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting my channel. Give it a like, subscribe if you wish. And I just wanted to mention that I always have a buy me a coffee link in my description. If you ever feel so inclined, everything that is donated goes right back into this channel, into this space, because I'm really passionate about it. I love creating content and having a community and a safe space for people to retreat into, go into, and anything means everything to me. So with that being said, until next time, see you around.